Hey guys, today's video will be slightly different. I just want to do a really quick update on some of the very exciting stuff that's happening right now in the AI space. So last week and this week, Google Bard and OpenAI have a lot of news and announcements that were released, right? So the first thing that I want to share is OpenAI's announcement of their release in voice and image capabilities. So now you can have your very own voice-activated AI assistant that can talk to you and respond to you, very much like what you see in Iron Man, where Tony Stark was able to converse with Jarvis, right? So same thing here. OpenAI is now a little bit like Siri, but on steroids, right? So we can really start to say goodbye to Siri, as ChatGPT now can not only hear and speak, but they can see. That's right, you didn't hear me wrongly. They can see things now. And how it works is that you are able to take photographs and they are able to describe what the image is about and provide even more information about it, right? So if you don't believe, let's hop over to my screen over here. And as you can see here, I'm at the OpenAI's official blog post where they announce these new capabilities, right? So right off the bat, you are able to see that ChatGPT can now be able to take photos and you can upload them and they will be able to recognize the photos, right? And they might even provide you more information about whatever that you have taken. And so what's more interesting is that when you scroll down over here to one of their examples, so I won't play the video, you can visit this website and see it for yourself. But in short, what happened is that this user took a picture of a bike and sent it to ChatGPT, right? And asked ChatGPT how to lower the bicycle seat. So this is a bicycle seat, right? So ChatGPT was able to give it a step-by-step on how to lower the seat, and it even prompted the user to take more photos to give it more context. So this person actually just zoom up close and draw a circle around the mechanism, the lock, to lock the bike seat, right? Based on this image, the close-up shot, ChatGPT was able to tell or advise the user that it requires an Allen key to release the lock, and even corrected the user's description about this mechanism, right? So you can see how powerful this new ChatGPT is. I won't go much into details. You can feel free to visit this website and see it for yourself, and it's absolutely mind-blowing, right? So apart from that, ChatGPT is now able to have voice samples as well. So you will be able to select different voices from a variety of voice types, and you can then get them to narrate, right? So you can get it to read a story or read whatever that the response are. So this is huge, right? Although voice sampling, or rather voice types of AI tools, are not something new to the AI world, right? It has already been around for quite some time. So you might think that, it's nothing special. You could just use 11 Labs or maybe voice.ai to just change voice or to just narrate a story. But the truth is, right now you could just simply use it on ChatGPT itself, unlike previously where you would have to use other voice AI tools on 11 Labs, right? Or maybe voice.ai or any other AI voice generator, right? So right now, I think you could just do everything on ChatGPT, right? So it's really helpful, especially for myself or any content creator when you're creating your own videos. So if you actually go and listen to the voice, it's actually pretty natural and impressive as well, considering OpenAI is known for their ChatGPT, right? Which is a text-to-text generation, right? So now you're able to have this that is equally as powerful as what you see on 11 Labs. So I'm pretty excited about this. Just imagine that with this function, you could pretty much just maybe get ChatGPT to create bedtime stories for your children, right? For your kids, and even get it to narrate and read it to your kids before bedtime. There's so much use cases, and I'm also very excited to try out if I can use different phone devices and have ChatGPT on the different devices to talk to one another. And who knows, maybe I could create a full AI podcast that discusses about anything under the sun, right? And that'll be very interesting to watch. But in any case, it should be available in October, in 2 weeks' time, as what it says over here. But it's only available to GPT Plus users, so you would have to subscribe in order to use this function. Speaking of AI assistant, Google Bard also had a major update last week. In this update, Google Bard is now more creative and intuitive. You can even ask it for in-depth coding assistance. But how does it fare? I'm not too sure, because in my previous video on AI comparison, which was conducted before this update, the results from Bard were a little bit disappointing, so I don't really have very high hopes. So do check out that video if you haven't in the description below. That said, I also do think that the previous experiments might not have done Bard enough justice, considering that the comparison was conducted before the update. So if I have the time, I might just run another experiment and deep dive into this new and improved Google Bard in another video. With that in mind, in this new Google Bard update, there are two promising new features that I find it really interesting. So if you hop over to my screen over here, I've tried a couple of examples, right? So I've asked a couple of questions to the AI and see if they're able to generate facts for me, right? So I just asked whether this certain type of pet, which is an axolotl, are they able to eat cat food, right? Because this is a commonly searched term in search engines. So they gave me this answer. So the interesting thing about this new update is that there is this new double check response button. So if you hover your mouse over to this G icon over here and you mouse over, there's this thing called double check response. So by clicking on it, it actually search Google and it helps you fact check their generation. So this is their generation, right? Their generated content, right? It fact checks it against the web and it tells you which are the sentences that are sort of aligned with whatever that they can find in the web and which of them are not really proven, right? So if you click on it, if you click on each sentence, they even tell you which source they are fact checking against, right? So you can use this to see whether the generations that you have created, is it more or less correct in terms of factual information, right? I think this is pretty wonderful, especially if you're learning or you're doing research, right? This could be really helpful. Although you still need to double check on the source. For me, I do know some of these sources. I do see some really familiar authority websites, so I do know that these are good sources. But for yourself, if you're doing research, if you're doing learning on your own, it is good that you double check on the sources and just to see whether the sources they are referencing from, is it correct or wrong. But the good thing is at least you don't have to do it for every single line, because they will tell you that certain portions of the generations that is highlighted in orange or yellow, right? They couldn't find any content regarding this line. So this line could be something that the AI just created out of nothing, right? So just double check on your work. And I think this is something that is really powerful. In fact, the use cases that I can think of for this, it's limitless, right? There are so many, right? You could get Bard to generate content, parts and bits of content, and then you can actually fact check to the web to see whether they are right or wrong. You can maybe even use other AI tools to generate content and use that content over here, get it to do a very quick fact check, right? So I do think that this is a really wonderful feature. Okay, but do take note that if you're going to paste content from other AI tools, just remember that Bard context window isn't very huge. You might have to probably cut and paste, copy and paste content over here in smaller paragraphs just to run it through, right? Because they are not able to take a huge amount of text. Then we move on to our second feature, which is now with this update, Google Bard is able to connect directly to other Google services, other Google apps like your YouTube, your Gmail, and so on. So I did try out one and I kind of like get it to read my emails, find details of my cruise trip, and it's able to search my emails for it, right? And it can tell me like, oh, this is your booking ID, you know, these are your sailing date and stuff like that. So, and the interesting thing is they are able to provide you more context, just like what they promised in this current update, right? They did say that they provide more information. I do find that the AI is more helpful now because not only would they just print out the exact details, they also tell me that, oh, they didn't see that I have any internet package, right? So there is no information about this as like a reminder that, oh, should I get an internet package, right? So I think that they are starting to get a little bit more helpful because I didn't tell them about I want to get internet access or anything, right? They're becoming more like a helpful AI assistant, right? That reminds you of certain stuff. Like maybe if you want to set an appointment to do something, you know, they might give you more information or to remind you of certain things that you might have to bring for this meeting and things like that. So they are becoming a little bit more intuitive in that sense, which is what I like about Google Bard right now. Okay, so I also got it to look into my itinerary of my old Japan trip, and it was able to go into my Google Drive and search for everything, right? So I could easily just continue prompting down, right, and get it to maybe improve on my itinerary or maybe to get me to find the locations, map it out for me in Google Maps. I haven't really go into details yet, but I might do one in another video. But this is it, right? It's powerful because it goes into my folders and it finds things for me. But there is an issue that maybe, you know, privacy issues that maybe some of you might want to take note of because it actually does goes into your Google Drive and it does look at everything. But again, if you're putting something in Google Drive, you probably don't mind the privacy issues, right? But in any case, this is something to just take note of. I also thought that I could get it to read PDFs, right? So if let's say I got a very long ebook and I want to break it down, I uploaded a PDF, or rather I used an old PDF and tried it, but it didn't work because of some permission settings, right? So I tried getting to find my Python ebook in my Google Drive and try to give it access. I even set permissions, right, on the folder, on the file, but it still wasn't able to do it. and I keep prompting, but at the end, it just tells me that it cannot summarize the Python ebook because they do not have enough information about it, and I cannot access the ebook directly. So it kind of get a little bit confused, but maybe it's my prompts. But so far, getting it to read PDFs on the Google Drive don't seem to be working yet, right? But maybe it's still a work in development. I might do another video on this on Google Bard, and I'll test it more thoroughly, right, in the next video. Okay, so I think these updates on Google Bard is pretty impressive. They are now able to even book hotels for you. I've saw some people already doing that, right? Booking hotels. So it's working a little bit like the Microsoft Copilot, which is powered by GPT. So that's the one that I'm really excited to look at because it's powered by GPT, right? And that is coming in November. So maybe I can later on do a comparison video on all three, right? Because now that ChatGPT is able to also have a very powerful sort of like AI assistant, because now that you can see, it can hear you, it can talk to you, and Google Bard is able to access all your documents, all your files, your folders, book flights for you and things like that, right? So, okay, these are the first two updates. The last update that I want to really share, which is also mind-blowing, right, is the OpenAI's release of DALL-E 3, right? So this is something major, right? It's a big upgrade from the previous DALL-E 2. So you can see here, this example in DALL-E 3, it's actually integrated with ChatGPT. So this is something that I think would be huge because you are now able to generate images within ChatGPT. And not only that, but the images are all very consistent, same color palette, same face even, right? So you could, have a very natural conversation, and you can even use, like in this example, they use Larry, right, as the hedgehog, and they do create a very consistent face, a very consistent image or main character, right? So who knows, maybe you can even use ChatGPT with DALL-E 3 to generate stories with images, right? So I think this is mind-blowing. Not only that they are able to see, they are able to generate images, they can even reverse that, describe the images for you to come up with the prompts. So it becomes like a full-fledged one-stop shop, right? Where previously you probably need to go elsewhere. You need to go to Midjourney to generate images. You need to go to GPT to create some paragraphs or some content. And then you need to go to maybe 11 Labs to get the voice, right? So, but now you can do it all in one ChatGPT, right? You can do it all in one. The only downside is it doesn't solve any of the context window problems that I've discussed. Maybe this time around, you just need two, right? Maybe you use Claude 2 to generate content, and then you use ChatGPT to probably read that content and insert images, right, in between. You can get a full blog post very quickly, right? You don't have to do a lot of additional work now. But this also means that, blogging might turn out to become more of a commodity. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it just becomes a lot more faster and common, right? And anyone can do it today. So I really don't see that the value of blogging will last. I don't know, right? This is just my opinion. But it just becomes easier and easier. Even the videos, right? So videos that you see on YouTube, people are starting to use AI to create those videos. So it becomes, I don't know, very common now that it might not have any additional value. I do not know how this will pan out in the future, but at least we are updated with this information and we can try it out ourselves, right? So yeah, so that's about it for this video. It's just a very quick update. If you like updates like that, do let me know in the comment section below. I can probably start a weekly series. If I have the time, I'll try to do a weekly series and, consolidate some of these really mind-blowing updates from time to time. Yep, so if you like these updates, do also smash the like button and get notified of new videos that's coming out, right? And also subscribe to my channel. In the next couple of videos, I'll probably put more focus into other large language models, maybe do one on Bard and some other AI models, right? So do stay tuned for the next update and stay safe.